I full on sobbed for the ending of this book. Hi everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today I'm going to be starting a vlog of reading books that are influenced by Greek mythology. These books are not necessarily Greek mythology retellings, although there are a couple that would probably be leaning that way, but have Greek mythology as part of the plot. The first book that I will be reading is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I know that this book does not have the best reviews, but I'm excited to still try it because I did really like The Silent Patient by this author. This follows Edward Fosca. Edward Fosca is a professor at the university, but is a murderer. And we also follow Mariana, who is convinced that he is a murderer. She is the one that suspects him of that. He is a very adored professor at this university, especially adored by a secret society called the Maidens. And the Maidens have a connection to Persephone and her ritual to journeying to the underworld, which is how it kind of works into this Greek mythology vlog. Mariana's best friend Zoe is found murdered, and Mariana is convinced that this Edward Fosca, this professor, had something to do with her death, and it's somehow linked to this society as well. Mariana looks into it and investigates it, and that's what this book follows. This has, like I said, a Greek mythology undertone, but it is also a thriller and a dark academia. I love both thrillers and dark academia, but I'm going into this with my eyes kind of open to the fact that this has not had the best reviews. And some people that I trust their opinions on did not like this book, but still liked The Silent Patient. So we'll see what I think. We'll see if I like it or don't like it. I don't always necessarily ignore a book just because it has bad reviews if the synopsis still sounds like something I might like, because not every book is for everybody and I might still enjoy it. That being said, I'm still going into it with kind of hesitant hopes and not too high of hopes because I don't want to be let down if it isn't exactly what I want it to be. I'm going to go read this and I will chat with you very, very soon. So I have finished The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, and for most of this book, I had a really great time with it. For a long time, I didn't really understand why this is hated on BookTube, and I still don't think I hate this book. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I had a really good time reading it right up until the end. The twist was not my favorite, and the ending was not my favorite, but before we get into that, let's just kind of go over what the book is. In this book, we follow Mariana. Mariana is a therapist, very similar to the idea of The Silent Patient. Clearly, this author likes to stick with a therapist main character. This book follows Mariana. Mariana is in her home doing group therapy sessions out of her home and is still mourning the loss of her husband. About a year previous, her husband died on a trip to Greece, and we are now seeing Mariana now about a year later. Mariana gets a call from her niece Zoe. Zoe is at college in Cambridge and is calling Mariana to tell her that her friend Tara has been brutally murdered. Mariana obviously goes to Zoe to see what is going on, and Zoe tells Mariana that she suspects a teacher, Edward Fosca, of Tara's murder. Tara said things to Zoe to lead her to believe that before her death. Fosca is a Greek mythology teacher and has a group of favorite students called the Maidens. All of these students are female, and it has a very cult-like atmosphere. It's a little odd that this college is just allowing this male teacher to have a group of only female students that he teaches secretly. I'm surprised that's never addressed in the book, and it's kind of talked about as it's perfectly normal, which is odd in my opinion, but here it is. The murder of Tara is very much reminiscent of a Greek mythology ritual related to Persephone, which even further points to Edward Fosca as he is a Greek mythology teacher. Mariana talks to the police, tells them her suspicions, and they do not listen. So Mariana decides to investigate Edward Fosca and the Maidens herself. We all know that I am a nostalgic reader. There are a couple of Easter eggs towards The Silent Patient in this book. It almost makes me want to go back and read The Silent Patient because technically the end of this book happens and coincides with what happens in The Silent Patient. And I'm wondering if some of the characters from this book are even in The Silent Patient, and obviously they wouldn't have meant much to me at the time, but now would mean more to me. There is our main character from The Silent Patient, Theo. He's a therapist in The Silent Patient. He makes a couple of appearances in this book, so it was interesting to see that play out in The Maidens. This was almost a 4-star. It was looking like it was going to be a 4-star for me. I was enjoying my time with it. Is it a perfect book? No, but I had a good time reading it. It had short chapters. I was enjoying the atmosphere of this dark academia, Greek mythology book. However, the twist just didn't do it for me. It almost felt like a throwaway ending, and it really did not match the Greek mythology and dark academia vibes of this book. And I could see why people would not enjoy the twist. Obviously, I can't talk about specifics because it would definitely spoil this book, but I totally can see why some people would not be a fan of that twist. So this one, it's gonna be a 3-star for me, and it is the first book that I'm reading for this Greek mythology inspired vlog. There is a good amount of Greek mythology in this book. There is even some ancient Greek writings in this book. So it does have a pretty big tie to Greek mythology, but I never felt like I was lost. I don't really know that much about Greek mythology, so the book explains it enough that I didn't feel like I was left out of what was going on, which I think is an important part if you're going into a book that is heavily influenced by a history or a mythology. I feel like it needs to be explained in the book. The author can't just assume you know, and thankfully this author did not do that. The next book I'm going to read for this vlog is actually a middle grade, and it is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I have never read Percy Jackson. I don't know how I missed that in my formative years, but I haven't read Percy Jackson, and I'm going to now. I own books 2, 3, and 4 of this series. How I don't own book 1, I do not know. But I don't own book 1. So I'm either gonna grab this from the library or order it really quickly from my bookstore and get it in the next few days. This follows Percy Jackson. Obviously, Percy Jackson is about to be kicked out of his boarding school. But that is not his biggest problem, because all of a sudden, mythical Greek gods and monsters are starting to appear outside of his Greek textbooks. Why? What is going on? I don't even know. I mean, I know a little bit about Percy Jackson just from hearing it around BookTube. And, you know, it's Percy Jackson. People know about it. But I don't really know the full plot of this book, so I'm excited to finally read it and see what all the fuss is about. I have so many friends here on BookTube who love Percy Jackson, and now I'm finally gonna go read it. I will check back in with you as soon as I get the physical copy. Hey everyone, so I have finished The Lightning Thief, Percy Jackson, the first book in the Percy Jackson series. Excuse this just out of the shower look that you're getting for this vlog update. I had emergency surgery last weekend, and this is really the first couple of days that I'm back to reading and vlogging. This is actually the first vlog clip I'm doing since my surgery. So just excuse what you're getting. But Percy Jackson was my first book that I read post-surgery, and now we're going into this for this week for book club. But I'm excited to be back into reading again. I'm excited to kind of get back into normal life a little bit now that I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I'm still recuperating. So this is what you're gonna get, because I'm not gonna go and try and stand and straighten my hair and do my hair nicely. I just washed it and threw it into a bun, and that's what post-surgery Brittany looks like. I am gonna give this 3 stars. I think I would have enjoyed this book more if I had read it when it kind of originally came out and when I was younger. I think I would have appreciated it more than I do now as an adult. A lot of Percy's tests were very centered around young things. There's a video game arcade and things like that, and that kind of lost my attention a bit as we were going through the book, and that was basically the reason it ended up as a 3-star for me. The things I really liked about it, though, was how it explained Greek mythology and the gods of the Greek mythology system and the various aspects of that. It was very consumable, probably because it's meant for children, but I don't know that much about Greek mythology, so It really helped me to understand who everybody was, who were demigods and real gods, and who were sons and daughters of whom, and how they were all interconnected. I found that very, very easy to follow in this book, and it was my favorite part of the book, was just how digestible the author made Greek mythology, which is not always a given. The writing style was really good, but I do think that the story for me just wasn't something that's going to be memorable, and I don't think I'm going to continue on with this series. I know it's a really well-loved middle grade series, and I think I just missed the mark of it being something that I would personally really enjoy by not picking it up when I was younger. So I don't have that nostalgia factor for Percy Jackson that so many people do. However, this week we are starting the last book for this vlog, and it is the B&K Book Club book for this month, and that is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I'm very excited to read this book. I've heard so many amazing things about this book, and I think I'm going to love it. Can I give you a synopsis of this book at this moment other than that it follows Achilles? Not really. Pretty much all I know about it is that it's a Greek mythology retelling, it's gay, and it's going to make me cry. Those are the three things that I know. That is all I know about it. That's all I really needed to know about it, and I'm very excited to pick it up. I will be reading it all week as part of the B&K Book Club, and I'm very excited to do so. I will be coming back to you in about 5 days because we break down the B&K Book Club book and read a little bit every day and chat about it in Discord. So I will be seeing you in a couple of days with my thoughts on Song of Achilles, and I may or may not have B-roll for you because, again, healing from surgery. So who knows what you're gonna get. So yesterday I finished the Song of Achilles, and I did not update you until later today because I was devastated. I full on sobbed for the ending of this book. Absolutely sobbed. So I needed time to collect myself before I came and talked to you. So I didn't really tell you what this book was about because I didn't really 100% know, other than that it was like a retelling of the story of Achilles. So this is a retelling of the story of Achilles, but it's from the perspective of Patroclus, who is basically his friend while they are children, and then they become lovers in the later part of their lives and remain really soulmates for their whole lives. It follows them as children and as they are growing up, as well as once Achilles becomes the warrior that the fates have made him. If you don't know, Achilles is one of the heroes. He is the son of a human and of a god, Thetis. So he is fated to be basically the best warrior that has ever lived. And we see him now that he's basically needed because Helena has been captured and they are now at war with the Trojan army. Patroclus and Achilles go to Troy and start fighting in that battle. Patroclus doesn't really fight. He's more of a kind of a surgeon or a healer and part of the army, where Achilles is actually the one fighting. We see that nobody can get Achilles, but there is a prophecy that Achilles will die, but only after Hector dies, who is basically the best fighter of the army of Troy. And we follow that war and everything that goes with it. The parts that I loved about this book was the writing style. Madeline Miller, the writing was absolutely gorgeous. There were so many times where I was highlighting a quote on my Kindle, and I would even like write the quote in the Discord over on the B&K Book Club Discord, or I would like even text my mom. I was sending quotes left, right, and center. This writing was absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful writing. Also, this is a kind of a twist on the story of Achilles, where Patroclus is not he's kind of like a cousin or like a best friend in the original story, but where he is his lover. But obviously this is a time where that is not really accepted. So there's only a very small group of people that know that Achilles and Patroclus are together. Like, it's a small handful. The rest of the people of like Greece and the area do think they're just friends. So it almost made it seem like this is the true story of Achilles, and the myth of Achilles and also the things that play out in the Iliad were what the majority of people thought, but if you were in the inner circle, you knew what was true. So it kind of made it so that both stories could be a version of what people thought or was true versus a retelling, which I thought was just such a powerful way of writing this story. And I just love that. It has been ages since I've read the Iliad. Like, I read it in high school. So it has been a very long time. So did I really remember the story of Achilles from the Iliad? Not really. But I started to remember things as I was reading the Song of Achilles, as people were showing up, such as Briseis and things of that nature. I would get little reminders of the story. Anyway, if you haven't guessed, between the writing style, that really interesting way the story was laid out, the story itself was just tragic and absolutely beautiful. I mean, I had to give it 5 stars. This is definitely a potential for best books of the year. Like, I adored this book. It broke my heart and I adored it, and I can say nothing else about it. But it is the end of this Greek mythology vlog. We've read 3 books, 3 very different books that all have Greek mythology tie-ins. We did The Maidens, which was a thriller, ended up giving that 3 stars. Percy Jackson, which is a middle grade, also gave that 3 stars. And then we ended with Madeline Miller with a 5-star in Song of Achilles. If you have any other recommendations for Greek mythology retellings or books influenced by Greek mythology, please put them down below. I'd love to hear what books you are loving that would fit this kind of genre of books. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.